Hey pool players, this is Albert Jong with GSAPAPoolandParenting2019, and today we're discussing parenting and pool. Today's topic will focus on how to balance time between pool and parenting. I'm with two parents who are APA players, Cassie, Francois, and Sophia, Tran.
Hi, I'm Cassie Francois. I'm married to Matt. We have a son who's 19 months. His name is Carson. I've been playing pool for about 13 years now. I'm sponsored by McDermott Hughes, Hustlin USA, and On the Hill Billiards in Newport Hills. I started with the APA when I first got into pool back 13 years ago, and since then I've played in 90 different APA teams. At one point I used to play on 5 or 6 different rosters at once. From then I've branched out to also be part of the BCA, the Northwest Tour, NWPA, and also the Women's NAPT Division 1 Tour.
Hi, I'm Sophia Tran, and I have been playing pool for about 14 years, starting with the APA. I'm a single mother of a 4-year-old. Her name is Michaela. And currently I am working with Bad Boys Billiard Production, Rail to Rail TV, and because of the APA, I jumped out into the other leagues like BCA and currently Northwest TAP.
So, first topic, how do you practice with a child? Cassie?
You don't, right?
Yeah, you don't.
That's probably how I would have answered, at least during the first few months of having Carson. Well, it's really hard to find the time to practice. I used to tell myself I would practice during his naps, but when he finally napped, I would do chores and I would be too tired and try to nap myself. So the first few months were definitely really hard. It did get easier as he got a little bit older. Sophia, how was your experience in the early days?
I don't even remember a lot of it, honestly. I mean, I don't even remember pool in my life for pretty much her first year or so. I tried. Initially when Michaela was born, there were different places that did allow children to be there. And so I would
love when you can find those places.
Yeah, but they're not really much in existence anymore. I would take her, but you're dealing with a child who you have with you while you're trying to practice. Is this the right environment that you want them to be in? Is it going to be too noisy when people break the balls? It's just a huge frightening sound. And so I had to make the tough decision to scale back big time.
Yeah. I was kind of fortunate in the sense that I actually have a pool table at home. Mm-hmm. So I guess one would think that it's so much easier to find time to practice when you have a pool table right there. But when Carson got a little bit older, it did get easier. Once he could sit up or hold his head up, I would actually carry him in my left arm and shoot pool with my right arm. I actually became pretty good at one-handed pool. But he actually started to really like pool. In fact, one of his first words was pool. And there had been times when he was really upset and crying, and the only thing that would calm him down is if I took him down and shot pool with one hand. Then I got him his own little pool table and pool cue, and so sometimes he would shoot next to me while I was practicing on the big table, but he always liked to see the table, and so I then started putting him in his high chair, give him a snack, and he would sit there and watch me practice probably just about 20-30 minutes at most if I was lucky, which is a long time for a child to sit on their own. But it's really cute. He likes to watch, and sometimes when I would pocket balls, he would clap and say yay, and so that was always fun.
I figured we're both really proud parents, and we're both very much in love with the game, and so for me, I feel like I do want Michaela to be exposed to the game, and so I'll take her to different league nights and still try to get her to love it, and she does. She started chalking sticks when she was just a little over a year old. And she loved to be around that environment. She would like to take the chalk and just be fun and playful. She'd get on the table and, pocket balls with her hands. So she's good at hand pool.
I think when they get older, Carson and Michaela need to be Scotch partners.
I know. I was thinking that. They are destined to be Scotch partners.
Yes.
So here's a question for you guys. With your game, and it sounds like it was a difficult time in terms of practicing, doesn't it seem like it affected your game? So you wanted to practice more, or you had to did you just not practice and say, okay, I'm going to live with this, and then knowing your priority is on your child? So
I'll jump in, definitely. Yeah. I had to stop. I had to definitely scale back, stop. There was no practice time for me, and I couldn't let go of the game though, and so I still agreed to be on different APA rosters or different pool leagues, and I tried to make it. I was that non-committal, committed type of pool player where it was, okay, yes, I would love to be a part of your team, but I can only be there for maybe 5 out of the 14 weeks, period. Yeah. So I didn't get to practice.
And your game then?
Suffered.
Took a hit.
Yeah, I had an internal battle because shortly after I had my son, I was still part of the NAPT tour, and I kept trying to decide, do I show up and play what is 50% of my game, or do I step away from the game until I know I'm back to closer, or at least closer to what I used to do?
And you couldn't let it go, right?
I couldn't let it go.
No, you can't love it.
It's really hard, but especially when Carson was really young, I wasn't even ready to leave the house, and so it was kind of an easier decision to put the game back, not to compete when I wasn't playing my best. It's hard when you're playing in a tournament and you can't, you're not playing what you're capable of.
Yeah. So it sounds like for both of you, practice took a big hit. With your child being the priority, basically you just lived with it, knowing that practicing is almost inevitably not going to happen.
It was a luxury.
Right?
Yeah. When practice is a luxury.
Yeah. Well, and half the time I was just too tired to practice. So.
Yeah. It was not easy. I mean, it is that myth that moms, you can clean up and you can do all your things that you've done.
Maternity leave?
Oh yeah, you're so blessed. No, it's just a constant battle. Yeah. You don't sleep. You think you can sleep. You just don't. If you can't even sleep, how do you practice? You don't.
So here's the other question then: if she's with a 1.5-year-old and then you're at a 4-year-old, does it get any better as the child gets older?
That's for you.
Does the practice, are you better able, because how long do you live with the fact that you can't practice with your child?
Priorities change. Once you become a parent, priorities change. And so, and everyone's life is different. For me, pool has definitely taken a backseat to the rest of my life. I'm still trying to get things together, making sure that, as a single mom, that I'm setting up a successful future to where eventually I can get back into pool, as far as competing and wanting to be, even at 50% for me right now would be a blessing, but it's not feasible. To play pool and to have fun and to practice, I would say that it is only possible if I have a good support system. I have to find babysitters if I'm going to pool league or out for a night to practice and play with friends. I don't have a table or one that I can just access easily where I can just bring Michaela. And even if I do, as a 4-year-old, her attention span and her desire and need for attention constantly is so great. I mean, even practicing, you still have to have a mental focus.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then why are you even practicing?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
So it sounds like right now it's all just about survival.
Yes.
I mean, I am fortunate, again, with the table at home and my husband, I am able to do my hobbies every now and then. He always encourages me to go out and play pool, even if I feel like,
that's awesome.
I shouldn't go play, I need to stay home. He's like, no, go play. So we try to balance our hobbies and take turns, making sure we still have a lot of that in our lives.
Nice. Okay, next topic. How do you play league with a child? Cassie?
There are definitely challenges to that because, as all you pool players know, league nights are usually pretty late, especially on the weekdays when they start at 7 o'clock. My son's bedtime's at 7 o'clock, and we have a bedtime routine. I like to be there for the bedtime routine. I don't have to be, but it's hard to balance that out and work full time. Throw that in the mix too. So I've been fortunate to be on teams and also have opponents that have been pretty flexible with our schedule. Either play me later so I can be part of the bedtime routine, or maybe I'll get there on time and they'll play me early so I can leave early. I try not to take advantage of that and do that all the time, but there are some nights where I really haven't slept well during the week or my son's not feeling well, and so it's great to have support from all the other pool players out there to help adjust to that.
I totally agree, and because both Cassie and I have been in pool leagues for so long, people have seen us graduate through our life from different experience and different life events, and having a child, the different teammates that I've had, I can speak on that, to where the different teammates are so flexible and so understanding, and just as I said before, with different pool leagues, if I commit to a team, or if I have to commit to a team, I guess, I let them know ahead of time that, I won't be able to be there for every single night. And, as a single mom, with having Michaela on every other weekend, when she's with her dad for every other weekend, if I'm playing on like a Sunday team, they know that, well, okay, if we need her, she has to find a babysitter, so I'll have to find a babysitter, I'll have to arrange for childcare to be able to go to league. And everything adds up quickly. I mean, not only does league cost, but finding a babysitter, you have to weigh out the options. Is it worth being able to play league and be a single mom, working full time and doing a million other different projects at the same time?
Yeah, and you mentioned playing part time. I think that's a really great option, and it's amazing that a lot of the leagues around here support that. There is another league I play for where I'm kind of their fill-in if they need if they need another player, then I'll make arrangements to make it work out so I can at least get some playing in for the week. But that is definitely a nice option.
But it's tough though. It's tough because I know that for the different leagues that I'm in, the captains of the team, I feel bad. I want to be guilty. Yeah. I feel guilty because I know what it means that when you say, yes, I'll join your team, and I know what it means when when I'm there a night and they're expecting other players to also be there
for the whole night
roster, and they're not there.
We've both captained.
So
it's frustrations. Definitely.
So I feel horrible, but at the same time, if people are understanding, I take that as like, yes, it's a luxury that I get to have.
Definitely.
So like with both of you, you found a way to join league again as parents. Versus when it was before and you were a single person.
I'm not doing 5 leagues a week.
So
the trail back is real, right?
You definitely have to cut back, right? Because a league is a commitment. There's a commitment if you're the captain, if you're a division rep, if you're a player, and you have to show up. Every week, or every other week, depending on whatever the schedule is.
It's the constant internal battle where you have to just say, okay, I have to make sacrifices. And sacrifice has been the predominant part of my life ever since Michaela was born. Just constantly sacrifices, but it's worth it. It's worth it. We have awesome kids.
We do, but I always wonder, like, at what age will we be more committed? I don't know
when they're like 35.
I know, right? Yeah. There's always something.
That's the thing that you guys find out how to deal with right now. The balance between the child, raising the child, your commitment to your practice, your commitment to your league, and it sounds like you have really good teammates, captains.
Oh yes,
that can accommodate you joining a team and coming there every other weekend,
which isn't easy. Like
every
I
other
said,
Saturday.
We both captained teams in the past, and it's hard enough to make sure you have the right balance of players there, enough support for people to be there all night.
Especially if you feel like you're the anchor of the team sometimes, or if you are what do you call that? Shoot.
Anchor is a good word.
There is a good word for it.
That's like in bowling. That's in the same in pool.
Yeah.
You're thrown in a crucial position.
Correct. And I just don't feel like
you can be that person. Or you
Oh no. Well, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I am a strong person for the level that I'm at.
Yeah.
And our priorities have changed now in pool league. Before it was kind of like the dream is to be able to be the best player that I could be for my team, and now the dream is to oh, okay, please just let me get my 4 to 5 weeks in.
Yeah, I was just talking to Ed right before this. Because I don't think I'm not quite qualified for the APA League this season because I had missed one extra match. But that's what happens.
Yeah, that's the balance that you have to take at this point in time. Sacrifice that you have to come through with.
But we can't quit. We love league. I love the league.
So we'll take any opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Any teams out there who need a part-time player.
Yeah. With tournaments, how do you deal with that and your child, Sophia?
Okay, that is a really, really tough one. You have to pick and choose different tournaments. Well, at least for me, I'm sorry. So I have to pick and choose different tournaments that I can or cannot play in. And, while I have my daughter and with the schedule that we do have with her father, I have to make that sacrifice. So if I have, if there's a tournament that falls during a time where I do have my daughter, I'm not going to join it. I'm not going to play in it. The only other possibility for me is if I'm working for some company during that tournament, then it's different. If I can justify playing in the tournament while working and earning an income and, different variables come into play, then I can play in it. But that's the only way it goes. At the beginning, when I wasn't a single parent, I guess, at the beginning of having Michaela, it was a little bit easier because her father jumped into the pool scene and he jumped in full force. We played in tournaments together, and it was easier that way because we had childcare or we had each other to be able to support each other. But as a single parent, if there is something that I need to be in and I'm working the event and I do have my daughter, it is definitely tough to find the childcare for anywhere from 3 days to possibly 10 days of a tournament schedule.
Do you have family around here?
I do have family, and that's another tough part. That's another subject. It's tough because they don't really support my love for the game. It's a cultural thing, but they will help watch my daughter for length of time if it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And there goes my internal battle. It's like, okay, I'm not going to have my family, take care of my daughter
sacrifice
just because I want to go to a game,
Yeah.
And just as I said before, also at this point, my game is just like
50% of what it was.
on a good day, yes, on a good day.
So right now you're sacrificing a lot between your priority with your child and your tournament play, your league play, your practice time. But you still have a love for the game.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Yeah, I love for the game so much that I find a way to work for different things. Yeah.
And what about you, Cassie? Same thing? Tournaments? Tournaments tough?
Well, as we were kind of chatting about before, tournaments are defined. It could be a one-day, down-the-street kind of tournament versus an out-of-state tournament. I used to travel maybe once a month or once every other month for out-of-state tournaments. And then when I had Carson, I didn't want to travel. I don't know how long you waited before you actually played in a tournament or traveled overnight from Michaela, but for me, Carson was 10 months before my first out-of-state tournament. And even at that point, my husband Matt and Carson came with me, which was really awesome. So I wasn't away from him. It was really fun that they got to come. We actually stayed at Matt's uncle's house in Arizona, and Matt and Carson got to come during my matches, and so I got to have lunch breaks with them. They actually got to watch a couple of my games, although I'm pretty sure Carson fell asleep on Matt's uncle during one of my matches, but it's okay.
He's forgiven.
Yeah. But it was fun that they got to come. That really helped me. And then a month after that was my actual first overnight without Carson. I was playing in Lincoln City. And unfortunately, it got harder to leave that day because Carson had a fever that morning, did not sleep well the night before, and it was just the worst time to leave. So I'm like, I can never go anywhere. Like, I'm never leaving again. This is horrible.
Speaking on that, like while you were in Lincoln City, how hard was that to even try to focus and play?
Yeah, so hard.
Yeah,
so distracted. Like, he had the stomach bug, and I'm like, is he eating okay? Like, is he sleeping okay? I'm constantly checking in, not focusing on my game at all. I mean, obviously trying the best I can, but it's so hard to do. But what helped get me through part of that in some tournaments today is thank you technology for video calls. I video call during my breaks in between matches, and that always helps to be able to see him when you're far away.
That's the other part of it too. The video calling and the ability to, be able to see your child while you're gone for so long. It's comforting, but for me, I don't even know if I can play in tournaments very much because my constant level of just worrying about Michaela is a huge distraction.
Yes.
And I feel like, myself as a mom, I worry about every little thing.
Yeah. Well, and we know the best level of pool playing is when you're as close to 100% focused as possible without any distractions.
Agreed.
So I think we can confidently say, as a mom, you're never
100%.
Yes, there's always going to be some distraction on the side, whether it's, I wonder if he's thinking about me right now.
Right?
I wonder if he's napping okay. Little things like that. It's always going to be in the back of our mind when we're down on a shot. And,
I wonder if she's doing that cute thing that she's been doing, or all the little nuances and different things. It's just, as a mom, I don't even know. I don't know if pool can be like the main thing anymore.
I'm trying so hard.
Well, the question I have for you guys then is, so before tournaments, I'd have to say tournaments end up being one of those achievements that you reach because you elevate your game to a point that you want to compete at a different level. So to do that, you have to have a high level of practice and
the
discipline to get to that level. Now you guys have competed successfully in various tournaments. But you see that you have to pull that back. And are tournaments worth the sacrifice to get there anymore? Do you do tournaments? Do you want to do tournaments? Or are you looking at it as, I should stay with league play still? And do I need that venue? Or am I
still need
at
tournaments.
I still need it too.
It's a break that you need during these busy...
It's our self-care.
Yeah. Mentally, you need to get away every now and then and do what you love. And tournaments is what we both love.
Yes.
So we make it work.
Because that's the ultimate challenge, right?
It is.
When you want to test your pool skill, you go out and you play a tournament.
It is.
But in the back of your mind, you always have, now you have your child.
But see, okay, with pool, there's always a challenge, right?
Yeah.
You're never 100% satisfied with your game. There's always something you're working on. So right now, currently, I'm working on trying to focus better, put some of the distractions aside, which obviously seems impossible
with your child.
But it's a challenge that I'm trying to tackle on right now, and I mean, we're both really competitive players. And
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So
I was going to say that, I've known Cassie for so long, and I have just total admiration for you. We were Vixens together. We have seen each other at various high-level tournaments.
Opponents.
Yes, we've been opponents.
Been teammates.
Yes, we've gone through the spectrum, basically, of, the friendship and the human connection, and now we're moms. And we can totally relate to each other. But, I've just admired how far you've gone and how much you have dedicated to the game. And I just know that I don't have that yet. And I'm hoping to get there someday. But just like you said, we have just different priorities and different distractions. And
so right now, you just scale back the tournament schedule.
Well, I mean, I'm not traveling every other month.
It's already happened.
So you've already scaled back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then you go back to it and say, but I still find it important. So what do I do? You need to say...
You make it work.
You make it work?
Oh, yes.
So that you can still
have a list of improvements that you need to
and then you try to get one of those tournaments back on the board. It's one of the ones that you say, okay, it's worth it to get childcare, to
or make have my husband and kid come again
to one of those important ones.
Yes, I mean that was a really awesome experience.
That's a treat, for sure.
Especially for my first big tournament back. To have them there was just
a treat.
Exactly.
I can recall there was one tournament that I was in. I was working for a company during this time, and it was in Lincoln City. But I was working, and my focus was mainly, on working. But we get to a point in my opinion where, we want to play in this tournament. We want to do so well, And I told myself ahead of time, I don't deserve to win. I don't deserve to do well because I didn't put the time in. I have these many distractions. And for me to jump into something and expect me to be, to place really well, that's just having
setting
unbelievable
the
expectations. Correct.
Is a really
thank you for helping me with that. Yes, setting the right expectations.
And you think really, as a pool player, expectations, being realistic with your expectations,
yes.
is totally
That's
an
necessary.
absolute necessity.
We know
right?
a lot of pool
Yes.
players and have unrealistic
expectations, right?
And so being able to accept what
as a parent now, then they have to have realistic expectations because of the double
not to
duty
be
that
so
you do.
hard on yourself.
Yes,
because
don't beat yourself up.
5 years ago, you would have played that table so differently. You're doing the best you can right now with everything you've got on your plate.
That is the biggest affirmation that you should tell yourself, is that you are doing the best you can with the way that your environment is set right now, period. Whether you are a parent or not.
Yeah.
Because we all have different struggles no matter who we are.
Nice.
It's probably true with any sport.
Any sport, yeah.
Not just pool. So
Anything.
But now that we're talking about parenting and pool, right?
It's more so parenting than it is pool for me.
Yeah.
At this
Oh,
point.
100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to thank Cassie and Sophia for contributing to today's topics. Anything parting?
Well, thanks for having us. This was really fun. These are actually a lot of questions I get from a lot of pool players today.
Same.
Before I had Carson, they were always like, are you going to come back and play pool? What, are we going to see you? Or is it going to be a few years from now? How are you going to make this work? And so it was really fun to talk about this. It was also fun to hear Sophia's perspective with a 4-year-old, because I'll be there before you know it. I'm sure everyone's experience is going to be different, especially as people have older kids, a father's perspective. So it was just a lot of fun. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this all together, because again, I get the same questions as well. And if there are other questions that people want to ask, just feel free to ask them away.
Yeah, put them in comments. Maybe we'll come up with another video coming to you soon. So
A follow-up.
yeah.
Years from now. Has anything changed?
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.